Did you know the hardest part of our body isn't our bones, but the enamel that covers our teeth? And now scientists are on the cusp of figuring out where this enamel comes from. Hint, it once lurked in the briny deep during the Silurian period. Hey guys, it's Natalia Reagan for DNews, and I'm ready to take a bite out of some science. Teeth, they are amazing. They can tell us so much about someone's diet, background, overall health, their hygiene or lack thereof. Heck, teeth aren't just for eating. We can even tell if our ancestors used their teeth to make tools. How great is that? But teeth also contain the hardest mineral in the body, enamel. And nearly all tetrapods, or four-limbed land-dwelling animals, have enamel on their teeth too. But what exactly is enamel? Tooth enamel is the hardest tissue in the body, and it's comprised mostly of a mineral fittingly called hydroxyapatite, which is crystalline calcium phosphate. This is the part of the tooth that dentists are most concerned with preserving since it protects it from cavities and other dental maladies. Even though it's the top layer of the tooth, it's not responsible for the tooth's color as it's transparent. But how did enamel get there in the first place? Well, scientists have found that an ancient fish might hold clues to how enamel came to cover our chompers. This fierce wee mini predator called Sorolla Pastrami cruised the seas 410 to 415 million years ago. Scientists dissected the fossilized skull of this mini predator and found that parts of their scales and skulls were comprised of an enamel-like substance called ganoin. Their teeth, on the other hand, did not have this enamel-like ganoin and were comprised of naked dentine. Similarly, some living fish do not have enamel on their teeth, but some recognizable fish like piranhas, grunts, and those ravenous cartilaginous fish like this guy do. Yes, shark teeth are also made with a hard mineral called fluoroapatite, or fluorinated calcium phosphate, which is very similar to hydroxyapatite except with the added protection of fluoride. That's why sharks don't get cavities. So, how did enamel get to our teeth from the scales of ancient fish? Time to get to the root of the problem. Some scientists have surmised that armored scales on ancient fish evolved to become teeth. And if those scales had enamel on them, that would explain how enamel made its way onto our teeth. But upon further analysis of Sorolla Pastrami's fossilized skull and scales, it was clear the distribution of ganoin was not a uniformed layer. The enamel was scattered. So perhaps the scales didn't resituate themselves to become enamel-covered teeth, but maybe the enamel production shifted south to the teeth? That's when scientists decided to look at the genome of the modern-day spotted gar to understand the genetic building blocks of enamel production. Researchers already knew that the gar, like the ancient Sorolla Pastrami, produces the hard enamel-like mineral called ganoin that covers their scales. And when they looked at the genome, they found that the gar produced 2 of the 3 proteins that comprise enamel, further supporting the evidence that ganoin-coated scales are like the enamel coating of teeth. This discovery is making scientists rethink the evolutionary process of how teeth became covered in enamel. Originally, researchers assumed that the enamel-coated scales of fish shifted and eventually became teeth. But now the new findings suggest that perhaps the actual body part did not move from one place to another, but that the enamel production shifted from one area of the body to another. But more research is needed. So what's the moral of the story? We can learn a lot about our evolution from some unexpected places, and that teeth are some of the coolest parts of our anatomy. Seriously. Now that you know a little bit more about teeth, did you know teeth can grow in some weird places like tumors or cysts? Check out this video to find out more.
Why or how on earth were there teeth growing in his brain? While the exact causes are unknown, scientists have hypothesized that the reason teeth might grow in a tumor is because the tumors themselves develop from the same cells that create teeth.
What do you think about this fishtail? Tell us in the comments below and subscribe for more DNews.